Welcome to Scene Change, a podcast by the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division. All about equality, opportunity, accessibility, and the arts. Here, you'll learn adaptive techniques from performers in the know. We are changing what it means to be blind, one stage at a time. Thank you for joining us today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scene Change. I'm Lizzy Muhammad Park, the Vice President of the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division, and your host of the show. Today, we're going back to Georgia, but this time in a totally different genre. We're going to do a deep dive into a hip hop and R&B artist, specifically an Atlanta artist and producer named Question. But you might also recognize him from some of our NFB conventions as Malik from CCB or even AT Guys. So, as an artist, he began freestyling at the age of 5 and making beats at the age of 12. He won over 20 beat battles, and that awarded him trips to Grammy Week 2 years in a row. He also performed at South by Southwest in Austin. He will be releasing his debut album very soon, so stay tuned. Welcome to the show, Question.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. Big up.
So let's start off with sharing a little bit about your background. So you identify as blind.
Definitely.
You grew up in Georgia, in Atlanta, right?
Yep.
So what was it like? Like, did you go to a blind school? Were you mainstreamed? Were you rapping in the hallways, like banging on lockers, making beats? Like, describe it. What was it like? What was it like?
I did all of that actually. Like, when I was young, I came up in the mainstream system. I was living close to East Atlanta, and I went to a real good elementary school. I had a lot of people there. People knew me. So I started making music, started freestyling. I would perform in talent shows and that type of thing. And then we moved to where I stay at now, where I've been at for a long time in East Point, which is like the home of Outkast, and it's real close to where 2 Chainz came from. And I went to school over here, and I did the same thing. I used to like freestyle battle my friends, and sometimes I'd battle rap some of the teachers. And we had like a production club over there after school where one of the teachers would bring his home studio system into class, and we got to make beats and make songs and record. And that put like a crazy spark in me. I was already starting to make my own beats like right around that time. So it just gave me like an outlet, gave me a crazy place to share my talent with people that were right around my age, close to me, doing the same thing.
Wow. So did you start collaborating too with your classmates and different things like that? Or was it that the teacher just taught each of you and then you kind of did your own individual thing?
Yeah, it was definitely collaborative within the setting. I don't know, I'm kind of weird. Like, it take a minute for me to like really get close to people and like collab with them on a regular basis. But it was like every Wednesday after school, it was probably about 10 or 15 of us. And every week we would come in and either start a new project or touch up a project, and we would do it collectively. So maybe some week we would make a slower beat, and then like a lot of the ladies would write like an R&B song, or we might make like a faster beat and then everybody jump on it and do some hype music or something like that. Like, it was crazy. It was wild. It was like a crazy collective. I need to see if I can find them files somehow.
Wow, that would be so cool to hear something like that. Like a,
I ain't thought about that in years.
throwback. That would be good. So, how you started rapping at 5? So were you always Question? I know a lot of rappers, they kind of have this evolution of rap names. So when and how did you choose the name that you have now?
Yeah, I definitely went through that phase. I had a lot of different names, a whole lot of AKAs. You probably gonna hear some of them come out on my mixtapes and that. Like, I'm probably still gonna use them for real, because all of that, like, some of them kind of lame, so I'm gonna hide them. But a lot of things from when you come up, like, it's all a part of you. Like, everybody still has that like inner kid. So I feel like it's cool if you can find a way to incorporate that, because it's almost like you a superhero to your young self. You can just like be like, hey, like, look what you made up when you was 5 and you get to do with something that you did when you was young. But when I was in high school, I was under a different name as far as my production because I had a production team where I was
Mhm.
really just like I've always been like very um like I've always been very oriented to my friends. Like I want to have my people with me wherever I'm doing. Like even though it takes me a minute to get the people, I like to keep my people close, like have them around me, help me stay grounded, help me stay focused. So I had a team going, but then when I started making moves on my own, like no diss to anybody, but I just ended up being the one that was the most driven and the most focused on making this
Mhm.
work as a lifetime craft, like because that takes an insane amount of dedication. So during that period, I was just looking for a name that was like a household name, something that was easy to stick in people's head, something that people remember. And it was kind of like random. Like people be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know," question mark, like just like a thing. But then I just started saying question, and it stuck. I was like, "Yeah, people know that." It went through.
That makes sense. That makes
Mhm.
perfect sense. So when did you know? Because you described being really driven, right?
Mhm.
And you're right. Like we find that happen a lot in groups, and if you like, read some of the biggest stars, um, a lot of them started off in groups, but they didn't. It's just what you described. They were the most driven person. So
Yeah.
when did you know that music was it for you?
Um, I think it's two different things. Like first you find your love of something and then you make a conscious decision to make that the rest of your life and sacrifice other things that you may have or could have um at the opportunity of getting that thing that you crave. So I always knew that I loved music from young. Like when I was a baby, I used to like make beats with my toys and I used to like memorize songs and I used to ask people to play my favorite artists like all the time. Like I was already soaking up a whole lot of the game and just studying and just paying attention. And then yeah, probably right like high school time, like everybody was like, "Oh, like you need to pick a career." And a lot of people were saying like music is not a viable career. You need to go to college and get a degree and credentials and this and this and this. And like no this to that. Like definitely you need that for a lot of things in society. But I just like at that point I was already making beats, I was already rapping a lot, and I was like, I'll definitely do this if I find I have to. But for now, like I really want to stick with music. I really want to make this rock. So like probably like senior year, like I just started going. I'm a Leo too, so I'll be stubborn. Like it's like you telling me I can't do what I want to do. Watch this. Like so I just started making it happen.
It is Leo season. So this is gonna play in November, but right now, as we record it, it's Leo season. So it's funny that you said that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but you're also self-taught. Like you play different instruments.
Yeah.
So which ones do you play and how'd you learn?
I started out with drums. I think I have like I think my most significant knowledge in music comes from my love of drums. Even like the way that I rap, the cadences that I incorporate into my music, all come from a knowledge of percussion and different rhythms and different ways that you move around the beat. So I started playing probably like percussion first, like djembe and conga drums and these type of different things. My mom like she kept me around a lot of different culture, a lot of different music. So I would be like in the park with grown men playing in like drum circles and doing like tribal rhythms and different cadences and different rudiments and just like learning it naturally. They weren't really teaching me as so much as I was able to like intuit where I was supposed to fit because I've always just been able to groove just because I had a natural love for what I'm doing. And at the time, it was funny because like I would incorporate like hip hop beats over this like African tribal like rhythm. But then I went to this youth ensemble called YEA, Freddie Hendrix Youth Ensemble. They like they dance and sing and act, and they also have like a band. So I kind of honed my skills playing drums there. This like kid Yetunde who was older than me, he taught me like a lot of the African rhythms and like real history behind the drums. So that got me started. And then around that same period, I kind of had like a couple lessons on drum set. But me and the teacher just ended up like chilling and vibing and like sharing stories a lot because he was like ended up telling my mom like this kid picks up things like real fast, like he have a gift. He's able to really to play drums at a level that a lot of people can't. So he just was more like again showing me things to hone my skills and helping me out. And then I started dabbling with the keyboard because the keyboard had a lot of drums that I was hearing in my favorite music. So as a drummer, I was trying to find like these programmed sounds. And so I found my way to keyboard. And then that's how I started making beats. I started like messing with the drums on there. And then I was like, okay, well, like I gotta make melodies too. I gotta make this part of the thing. I gotta figure this out. So I just started messing with the piano, doing little simple things, little 3 note chords like A minor, G major, F major, back to the A minor, just like little simple vibes. And then I just like figured out more from there. How do you transpose it? How do you add things? How do you invert things? And like I'm still not the best piano player. I aspire to be like a jazz musician, but I'm not there yet. Still working at it.
That's
Um,
so
I
cool.
dabble
I
in
love
guitar.
that.
I dabble in guitar, but I'm no Jimmy, man. I'm no Jimmy Hendrix. Yeah, I'm still working.
Wow. But you know what? I like that you described even a little bit of like about your piano journey. You know what I mean? I like that you really broke it down and really shared with our listeners how to pick up a new instrument. You don't have to go in, with something of really, really complex. You can start with, some beats, start just by picking it up pretty much. It sounds like you're just pretty fearless. You just kind of said, okay, like, everybody's playing in the park. Let me join in,
Yeah,
or, and then that kind of started everything else, and it's like, okay, well, let me start with a couple of chords and then pick, keep going from there. I like that you broke that down. That,
yeah.
that makes a
Don't
lot of sense.
don't overthink it. Like a lot of my first beats were trash, like, but I didn't care because I was like making the thing that was inside of my head to some capacity and I was able to hear it. And also like when you're younger, like you don't have a lot of that societal anxiety, like problems like, okay, people gonna judge this, what's that? Like you're able to have that carefree mentality. So definitely like don't overthink it. Like just do what you feel you love. And if you need to do it in private until you get it to a place where you feel like you can share it. But we're people, we're gonna want to share it eventually. So
That's perfect. And I love that you just talked about sharing it because my next question is about the collaborations that you do with other blind artists. Can you tell us about the group that you lead and how it got started?
yo, BNF gang. I got a collective, man, called Blind and Famous. That's my family, my brothers. We've been working for like 3 years. Some of them I've been working with since high school though. My main brother, Q the Master, he's another artist out of Georgia and he's a great songwriter. He has his own lane. He's definitely very unique in the way that he approaches music. He does like trap music, trap R&B and rap. And we've been working since high school because we both went to a school for the blind. That's another thing I didn't mention earlier. Like after I left middle school in East Point, I did go to a school for the blind for the rest of my high school career or for my high school career. And I got to meet a lot of people down there that I ended up working with. So he and I kept in touch after we graduated. He was older. He graduated a couple years before me, but we just like got closer then, like making music. And then after that, we just kept working, and over time, people were kind of just drawn to the vibe that we had going on. A lot of people appreciate the collaborations that he and I have done as a team. So they were like, "What y'all got going? Like, what is this?" And then our brother Migo Traffic, he did a song, and he said like, "BNF, we blind and famous." Like he just said it in the intro, and I was like, "Bro, like that's the move. We got to run with that." And so we put out a project, and then we started getting some attention. I did I think it was an event at South by, and I met this internet producer who was making a lot of waves called Cash Money AP, and he retweeted me, and that put me in touch with another blind producer, and so he joined up the collective, and then he kind of introduced me to a few other different younger kids around his age that were moving, and so I was really able to take advice from them and really get plugged in with like a new current sound that's going on that I already listened to, but youth are always gonna have more of a honed ear than you. Like people just have more time, more enthusiasm. Like I wake up enthused every day, but I wake up with more and more stress, and like you just it piles up on your brain, and when you don't have that, And when you just like spend hours and hours and hours scouring for new music as a kid, you have like such a hype and such an energy. And that's like super inspiring too. So they bring me like so much creativity.
Wow. Um, and if there's another, like, let's say somebody's listening to this and, they're an aspiring artist, they want to get involved, they want to connect with you all, how would they go about that? Should they contact you? Who do they contact?
Yeah, it's a real selective process because
Mm-hmm.
it's a family dynamic, and I do as much as I can individually and collectively for everybody, but we're definitely looking for versatility and diversity. So yeah, just link with me on Twitter, or if you're listening to this and you're blind, like I'm around, I'm in the community, I'm around Team Talk, I come to conventions, I'm on Twitter, I'm in Clubhouse, like you could find me, and I'm definitely open to talking and collaborating, even if it's not on the basis of the collective. Like maybe I could put you in touch with someone from the collective. I had the awesome opportunity to do a song with Precious Perez. We just released something with her
Yes, I
called,
heard that one.
yeah, Can't Read Your Mind. And that's my boy Johnny. He's a part of BNF. He played guitar on there. He produced it completely. I just had the pleasure of engineering it and kind of like executive producing it. But I was really able to sit back and let them work. So definitely always open to more collaborations.
Definitely. That sounds so good. And then you do other stuff in the community too. Can you tell us about Soulful Cipher?
Yeah, that's my brothers too. Soulful Cipher and now the new organization Rapport are two entities moving within the city of Atlanta to kind of change the rap on rap, which is basically meaning a lot of people tend to have a negative connotation about rap lyrics and rap artists because of the way that certain people are depicted. And um, we really just want to make a positive influence and still be lit at the same time, still like give the kids and give everybody in the community a vibe at the same time. So what we do is we go to different places and we freestyle, which is improv rap right off the top of our head, right on the spot. And we talk to people in the community and we freestyle with the community. And in certain cases, we teach the community. We've had times where some of our people are teachers, and they've gone into schools and led like 8-week programs where they work with the kids, and that if it enforces confidence. It helps kids to think on their feet, helps you to learn how to express the ideas that are in your head at a much quicker rate, which is an invaluable skill. Like you can't even imagine how much that can help. Like that helps me to be as fluid of a speaker as I am. Like freestyling gives me so much more confidence, and I practice daily. It's something I work on a lot.
Hmm. I like what you said though, about changing the way people think about rap.
Hmm.
Um, and that brings to mind one of your songs that I told you was one of my favorites, Blessed.
Hmm.
Do you remember writing that one? It's very, I think it came out like what? I think it's supposed to about like 6 months ago, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a really positive message. And I really like that because I was like, there's a lot of fun songs. There's a lot of, actually, it's really versatile music. Some of it, I think you have one called, I forget the exact title, but it's called like Sad Song or something like that. Like I forget.
Going outside.
Yeah, that one,
Oh
Going
yeah,
Outside.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, so you have,
My,
like
my
some songs
mom,
that
my
are
mom
sad.
holding me down. I don't even know my own titles.
um,
Yeah,
but Blessed was one that,
bless up for sure.
when I saw it, I was like, this is a good message. It's
Thank
really
you.
positive. And what was the inspiration when you were writing that?
Um, I've been moving more into a focused mentality over the past year. I had a point in my life where I was like super stressed out and like damn near depressed because of like relationships and friendships and just like random, just how I go, like young people business.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, nah, like this is not how I'm staying. This is not where I'm at. It's like I need to be motivated. I got a lot of things going on around this time. Like it's crazy because I was doing a lot of successful things, but my mentality wasn't allowing me to enjoy it to what I should have been. I would be moving around, flying, performing, and the only joy that I would really have would be like that moment when I would be like on stage or whatever, and then I would just be back hyper focused on whatever the problem was. And I was like, I can't live like that. Like, you're not supposed to do that. So I realized how much control you have over your life through your brain and the way that manifestation works and the way that you have to speak things into existence via thinking them into existence and acting as if things are happening. So that's all impacted by your daily habits and your daily actions and your daily regiment. And one thing that is a part of a lot of people's daily regiment is the soundtrack to their life. So for me, this was a song to represent a change, like how I was feeling, like just kind of definitely giving thanks. I believe in God. I identify a lot with a higher power and I have a strong faith. So it was just a song to really show appreciation for the opportunities I've already been given and the things that I'm on my way to being able to do and making that tangible so that people can look back to it and really appreciate it and identify with it. Because a lot of times some people might not know that it's okay to say that, or like you say, like they have a certain mold of rap, or they have like, because like you say, I do have like some lit songs, some like vibey songs, and that's my whole point. I'm not trying to be like one artist or one like, I'm not trying to have one perspective only in my music. And some people may say that that's a contradiction, but I think every human has some contradictory actions. So my goal is to show that and to be as real about it as I can. So that song is just giving thanks.
I love that. It's necessary. It's part of how you feel, so it's just so genuine. And I like what you said about contradiction. That's really true. It's just a part of who you are. Sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're lit, sometimes you just
Mm-hmm.
feel thankful. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good way of describing it. And speaking of some of your more positive things that you've done and your successes and things like that. You competed in the 2019 Battle of the Beatmakers competition.
Yes.
And that was in Toronto. So I
Yo,
want to know about that. What was the application process like? What was it like when you were there? Like, tell us everything.
yeah, no, it was blessed. Honestly, to this day, I've had people from the blind community and people in the producer community like still come to me and be like, "Hey, I think I saw you on that battle." I used to watch that battle when I was a kid. Like, actually, like when I first went out to CCB, I was getting into beat battles because this producer that I was working with, like rapping to his beats a lot back then, he did the battle. So I looked that one up and then I found Battle of the Beatmakers, and that was where everybody was tuned into. So I watched it for years. And then when I came back home, I kind of took what I learned from there to start my beat battling journey. And because I had studied that, I tied for first place in my first beat battle because I came in ready from studying them. So fast forward, like I'm watching the battle with BNF. We're talking about the host tricks on stage. We're all like, "Oh man, like this dude is funny. Like he crazy. Like what if we get to meet him?" Because we're all aspiring producers. We all big each other up, so we're all plugged into different things in the culture. And that battle is definitely really esteemed, really recognized. So it was really like a what if process the year before. It was like, man, like yo, these people going crazy. Like I done battled here. Like how would I do against them? And then I took a trip to LA, thanks to some other things we had going on. And I went to this like Northern Hospitality Toronto event out there. And I met my current manager, David. And we started really linking, just like getting close. Like, he started getting to know me, figuring things out. He actually like flew here within a week to just hear some music and just like get to know me, like talk to me just to show that he was interested. Like, let me just fly here. No random talk. Like, I'm here in your city. Like, I'm not gassing you. So that day he called the leader of the battle and he was like, "Yo, there's this kid down in Atlanta. He's won over 20 beat battles. And by the way, he's blind. Like, y'all need to mess with him. Y'all need to rock with him." So I got to meet him, talk to him, and then off the back of that, they recommended me for a USA Today documentary that was really just following the culture of beat battles, and kind of like how producers in battles worked and how they talk to each other, how they interact, how that whole scene was. But I ended up not winning. I ended up making it to like the top 16 producers out of like 200 that signed up. Cause like first you had to go through this online vetting process where you go up against like three other people and there's like judges that like rock to your beats. And I made it. I was like the best one out of my round for that. So that allowed me to be in the top 32, which all came in person, as well as like other people that were in the reserve just in case somebody didn't show up or got disqualified or anything. So they had like an extra 32 there chilling and vibing with us. Um, and so I made it to like the right before the semifinals. So like it was pretty fire. Like I think I made it to like the second day of battling. Um, so I did well. I knocked some people out. I got knocked out, but ultimately I got to network a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the judges were Nipsey Hussle's producers, Mike and Keys, and they were fresh off of working on Victory Lap, and unfortunately, fresh dealing with his passing. So it was quite a time to be able to sit down with them and network with them. I actually got to go to a couple meals and really just talk music and talk about artists that they had coming up now. They're like blowing up. Like they were telling me about Smino, and Smino is like bussing now. Like he really going off crazy. Um, and I actually got to go to a studio with them and play some beats. So, the my man Jared from USA Today, he's there filming everything. So he's like, yo, we gonna have to turn this into a longer experience off of this. And we actually ended up traveling to a couple of more places after and filming some things about my journey. So we hoping to tighten that up and get that out for y'all soon too.
Wow, that's gonna be so nice to see
Yeah.
that.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
It really is. So you talked about all these different things that you've been able to accomplish, but I really want to know, in your opinion, how accessible is the music business? Like you seem to, know a good number of people as far as the networking goes. The performance side of it as a rapper, the production side of it as a producer. How accessible is it though? Like if someone wants to go and pick it up, what do they need to do? What do they need to know? What skills do they need?
I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's at
Mm-hmm.
about a five. Um,
Mm,
there's definitely ways to do things, and there's definitely a lot of things you can access with today's technology. Like if you have an iPhone, VoiceOver comes pre-installed. You can just, engage that and go about checking your email and using Twitter and using Facebook and even using Instagram to some degree. So when you start talking about promotion and, interacting with people on that online basis, those are a lot of the things, but there's also a lot of visual elements as far as like today, a lot of people just on the majority scale, because blind people are still quite a small percentage of the population listening to music. So a lot of people want to consume things with a video. People want to see photos. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see different angles. They want to see like there's different graphics that you need to have, different cover arts for releases and things like that. So um, that's one thing where I definitely appreciate having people in my corner and having like my mom working with me as management as well as management, helping me post up different things and, working on logos and working on shooting videos, getting my ideas across to a director so that it doesn't like look weird. Like, but that's
mm-hmm.
also, I work with really awesome people. Like the videos I've done, the last one that I had up with my guy Jahi, like he's, he and I are close and we communicate a lot, like one on one. So I can try to put some, I can't really see music videos, so I might have some weird visual things that represent how I'm feeling, but he could turn it into something real creative and real strange. Um, and then like navigating as far as like networking in these packed like mixer events, I feel like if you have a certain level of confidence, maybe you can go around and do that by yourself. But like I'm not to a point where I want to like run through an event of 200 or 300 people with my cane and just be going to like I feel like I'll be going to the same person over and over, like, yo, like it's like a certain perception. Like you really want to make a certain impact with your first impression when you're meeting people. And if you I don't know, man. Like, I'd actually be curious about people's advice. Like, I don't know, this might be a controversial hot take or something, but y'all could tell
That
me
would be
like,
fun.
nah, you need to walk around there by yourself, bro. But like personally, I feel like it's easy to have somebody with you and you can just kind of have them spot for you. Like, especially if you're in an event and you come to that event to seek out a certain person that you know is going to be there. You come, armed with information, with details of how that person looks, with details of how you can help that person, how that person can help you, and really prepare yourself for meeting that person. And I think it's a lot easier to accomplish that if you have somebody to help you seek that person out efficiently, quickly. But I think it could be done. I'm not saying you can't move dolo. You know what I'm saying? I like moving by myself sometimes, but it's a matter of professionalism and presenting yourself the right way and making that right first impression. And I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna break code, and instead of just asking you questions, we can just talk about this topic because I think it's interesting, and
Yeah,
I think we could have a good conversation about it. So
yeah,
you're right; like it does take a certain level of confidence to do it, but you're also right when you say like it can be done, and it can be done professionally. So, all right, so like you describe a situation where you're like, um, you go into a room and we're gonna make it like instead of saying even two, we're just put it on three, so there's
mhm,
300 people in this room.
yeah,
And so it's like, all right, so how do you navigate it? So there's a couple different ways of doing it. If you're looking for somebody specific, the first thing that you do is just connect with, like whoever you first connect with, and just be like, hey, have you seen so and so, or blah blah blah. And they might be like, oh yeah, they're right over there. You know what I mean? I'll show
mhm,
you where they are, or let me
mhm,
go grab them, or like whatever. That's one way to do it. And maybe they say no. So maybe they're like, oh no, I haven't seen them, and I don't even know
right,
who you're talking about.
yeah,
Okay, so you
yeah,
can, if you like that person, you can keep talking with them, and they might even introduce you to somebody else. You just ask that person like, hey, I'm looking for so and so. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Eventually it's gonna get around to this person that like, hey, like this blind guy, he over here looking for you. I don't know what he wants, but
I'm trying
you
to
should talk
find
to
you
him. You know what I mean?
for
So
sure, for
I
sure.
think that's like one way to do it.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
no, no, no. I was agreeing. I'm just agreeing. That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel you.
No. I think that's like one way to do it. And then another way to do it is usually when you have like a big event like this, there's also like somebody hosting it, so you can either contact them beforehand or maybe even contact them like even like when you walk in, maybe there's somebody, I don't know if there's like somebody like at the door. I don't know how music events specifically work, but I know like for other stuff there might be like a host or two. Usually there's two,
Yeah,
to
you
kind of like
spot
direct
on.
people, but like they're not really like doing anything. They're just kind of saying hi. So like if
For
there's two
sure,
of
for
them,
sure.
you just kind of say like, hey, I'm looking for so and so, and then like that's another way to find them. It's just with the host. um I think a
Yeah,
lot of it though
I appreciate
really,
that.
yeah. I think a lot of it though really is, it's exactly what you said. Like you have to be willing to just let people know what you're looking for, let people know what
Exactly.
you need. But
Yeah.
it's also, I can also see the benefits of, it's kind of like having a wingman. You know what I mean? Like I can also see the benefits of
Yeah.
having somebody there with you, because like you never just kind of like, you don't have to worry about, is there going to be a point when the person I'm talking to is leaving but I want to stay,
Hmm.
and everybody else is in a conversation. Like these are just like the thoughts that people will have, right? Like as a
Sure.
blind person, you're like what if everybody else is talking and I'm standing there by myself and I'm not getting anything out of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So
that's
like,
exactly it. And when you talk about the confidence, like I honestly, like when I think about it from that perspective, I'm like
mhm,
excited to try this now and go somewhere because like I just have a lot of anxiety. I'm like, man, people don't want to be bothered. Like everybody who's here is here for something. So like I'm not finna
uh-huh.
be going, you know what I'm saying, taking you out your way, but like you're here for something too, and you're just as valuable. So like why not just
Yeah. And
like
you know what though? I like that you're going in with that business mindset of everybody's here for something. So you figure out what they're here for and figure out if you can help them. And in the meantime, maybe they can help you too. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Maybe they can, and I think other people too, when they're going into these situations, some people they just go in, for what they came for, and then they leave. Other people they just want to keep meeting people. They just want to keep connecting and keep, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like seeing, and I don't know how specific these events are, but like if it's an event where it's a lot of hip hop people all together, then I bet some situation where you can go off and do what you said before, where like you guys are off and listening to beats together, or even making beats together, or planning something,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. If y'all vibe, now if you don't vibe, then you just got to move on, which that
Yeah.
could be
Yeah.
awkward. But like, but I don't think, it's what you said in the beginning, don't overthink it. you just step in and step in with something small. You know, I
Yeah.
think that it's easy to think about what could go wrong
Hmm.
because that's what society tells you, is that if you're a blind person, odds are something's going to go wrong. But honestly, things usually don't go wrong. But it's getting over the anxiety that's the hardest part. But once
Even if
you're
it
there,
does too, even if it
you
goes
know,
wrong, like there's a thing
yeah.
that we're conditioned to like really fear failure. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, every time you fail, you learn something about like, okay, this is what I don't need to do. Like
Right.
this is a thing to keep in mind. So okay, how do I reach the opposite of this? How do I flip this into the positive? Like, all right, I see what I didn't do. So now
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to do exactly what was right there. Like every
I
time.
like that. Yeah. Go ahead, say it. Every
No,
time
it
what?
is like that every time. Like that's probably an exaggeration, but like a lot of times I walk away from something and I'm like, if I could only have like 3 more minutes, I get it now. Like that happens to me
Right,
often.
right.
Like I get it now, man. I'm like, but you gotta just take that and come back. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I wanted to say too, like, speaking to what you said earlier, it definitely is about a lot more than just like in my case having somebody to guide me around. Cause like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes as an artist or as a creative or as somebody in business, just culturally and socially, um, it's not always right for you to say certain things. You know, it's good to be able to have someone as a buffer for certain things because of
Mm-hmm.
like the way somebody may feel if it comes from you, which is like, I don't know, that might be like a tactic of some kind, but like, you know, you want to keep people happy. You want to keep them
Yep.
doing what, you know what I'm saying? Like, keep it moving. So,
I agree with that part. It's a good strategy to be like you don't want to be there and be like, yeah, I did. Like, I mean, maybe it's a certain kind of person, and that's them. I'm not gonna judge them, you know. But like the kind of person, like you know, like they'll come up to you and be like, I did this, I did this, I did that, and you need me for this. Like you know, it's
yeah,
easier, not easier, but it depends on who you are.
yeah, it's commonplace. You definitely
You
can do that
know,
when it's warranted.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, like it's you know, it might look better if you have somebody else saying those things for you, kind of like spitting out your resume for you instead of you doing it, because it can come off a certain way. But like you said, it's a time of like there are also ways that you can do it and not look a certain way. But
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, no, that's definitely true. So definitely consider it, and if you try it out, let us know how it goes.
For sure.
I might have
For
you on
sure.
in the future if you can report on it. Tell us
Yeah,
how it went.
and just to let y'all know, like, don't try to come for me, man. I travel a lot by myself on planes and all
Of
this. So
course,
don't,
of
you know
course.
what I'm saying?
That's
Don't
right.
don't
Yeah,
get it
yeah. Let
twisted.
everybody know.
Don't get it twisted.
That's right. You went to CCB. You went to NFB Training Center too. Like,
Yeah, they're gonna try to be like, you said, but then you said it's love, it's love, it's love. I love the energy. I love everything that we got going still. So I'm
exactly.
definitely glad to be here.
Exactly, exactly. So just let everybody know how they can follow you. As far as, you know, updates on your album, updates on the documentary, what's your Twitter, what's your everything?
Yeah, again, appreciate all of you guys for taking the time to listen to us talk, vibe out. Please follow me at Question ATL on Twitter, on Instagram. My Facebook page is under Question, so you can search me up. You can also go to my YouTube, Question Official. I'm dropping tunes there, and yeah, I'm active in them places. I'm also active in Clubhouse. So yeah, come find me. Let's talk.
Yes, I definitely recommend it to our listeners. Find Question, ask him whatever you want to know. I definitely got a lot of positive vibes from this episode. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Um,
Much love to
for
my bro
sure.
Shane, man, behind the scenes. Big up, bro, for the recommendation. I'm so glad.
Yes, this is all thanks to Shane. So thank you so much, Shane. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in today. And we're leaving you today with my personal favorite. It's called I. And Shane's gonna start playing that now as we leave and vibe out. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, everybody who helped today. And it's been so much fun.
Peace.
This has been another installment of Scene Change.
Peace.
I'm Caitlin McIntyre, President of the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Scene Change. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and visit our website at nfb-pad.org. There you'll find links to our social media, membership, and resources for blind performers. Thanks to everyone who makes this show happen. Scene Change is produced by Shane Lowe, Joe Schuneman, Precious Perez, Chris Nussbaum, Seyun Choi, and Aaron Jordan, with music by Ryan Strunk and Tom Page. Remember, you can be the performer you want. Blindness is not what holds you back. We'll see you next time.